I do a lot of post on this, so
yeah.
A lot of post production. But it's cool. Like I'm learning a lot about it, so just kind of throw myself into the deep end and fucking try to figure it out. Try to make something worth listening to. You know.
Yeah, cool. This is I know a lot of people with podcasts. This is the first one. I think. Yeah, this is the first one that I'm actually on.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. We tried something out at Joey Tepedino's place one time. There were like 9 guys.
Oh, it
was ridiculous.
Were you just trying to like record with like a room mic basically, or?
I think it was like a regular like down from an SM58, like just like a regular
whatever
average microphone. What I don't know what the brand was.
Okay.
But yeah, we were just like experimenting with what would happen if we did a podcast. And like 8 people turned on the mic, and then one guy's his personality changed entirely.
Yeah.
As soon as he turned on the mic.
Yeah, it happens.
It was like
that's something I had problems with in my first couple episodes that I released. It's like I was trying too hard to be funny. And then I'm not funny. Like when I'm trying to be funny, I'm not. So
right.
Yeah, I was just making dumb jokes and acting like not myself, basically. So I'm trying to like get away from that a little bit.
Yeah.
It's funny that happened to Joey's. Like he was the one who tried to do that because I'm sure you've heard by this point how I fucked up when he was over here.
Oh, yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah. So now I make sure because he hasn't. It's been like 2 weeks and he's still giving me shit about it. So
right.
Yeah. You can't please all the people all the time.
Yeah. Do you ever have like a secondary, like your phone on recording, just like besides?
No. We'll see what happened with like this has onboard mics.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
as a backup.
Yeah. I just didn't have the input set up correctly.
Oh, okay.
So the sound wasn't running through the mics. It was running through the onboard mics.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, which are like super sensitive and pick up fucking everything. So, that episode, I haven't done anything to it yet, but it's gonna take some extra post.
Oh, okay. So you can still make part of it work.
Oh, I think I'll be able to make all of it work. It's just a matter of being able to like clean up the audio a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Without like completely distorting it and making it sound like shit.
Yeah.
So, I'll do what I can, I guess. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Human Interaction Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Hambone Hambleton. With me today, I have fellow Lancaster comic, Kyle Neff. Hi, Kyle.
Hey, what's up, Andrew?
Not much. Thanks for coming by. I always appreciate it, on a Tuesday night or whatever.
I don't know if I ever refer to you as Hambone. I think I pretty much just always call you Andrew.
Yeah, there's a very distinct crowd. Like there's 2 distinct sides. Most people in comedy call me Hambone.
Yeah.
But like people I work with or my family call me Andrew. So I guess we're family. Now, Kyle.
Or people we work with. Doing open mics, working, I guess, if you want to consider that a job.
Yeah, I don't because I don't get paid doing it. No, that's actually something I've talked about with a few people on here. Just comedy, to me, at this point, where I'm at now, comedy is not, it's just something I do. It's not like who I am,
So you'd consider like a hobby?
Yeah, I've accepted that it's a hobby.
You've accepted at this point. That it's a hobby, yeah.
That, sometimes maybe I'll get to drink free.
Yeah.
Where are you at this point with comedy? Are you still like pushing to try to make it at least to the next level?
Well, at this point, I want to like eventually at least make a semi-living off of stand-up. I mean, I know like rarely anyone ever makes a living off of stand-up, so it's like they always have something else they're doing along with it. But I mean, just as far as like getting better, I'm just trying to get better at it.
Yeah.
Just every open mic. I mean, it's like a little over 3 years now, so I'm just I feel like so many people, they try to make it so early, like too early, like without knowing what they're like, without having any material to back up what they're trying to sell.
I can think of a few Lancaster comics that you could apply that to.
Yeah.
And big surprise, a lot of them don't come around anymore.
Yeah.
I guess I'm one of those people though. I'm not around a lot as much as I used to be anyway. But you know, it is what it is. Again, it's a hobby. I'm not necessarily pushing myself anymore. Do you have anything else that you like to do? Like as far as comedy, like you said, people always have something else with comedy.
Make a semi-living. I think it'd be cool to get into like some kind of voiceover work.
Yeah, I could see you doing it for sure.
I mean, when I started stand-up, I don't know, people started talking to me about my voice. Or like, hey, you should do radio or whatever. But
yeah,
I mean, I haven't like applied for any of those jobs or whatever. I mean, I can do voices and stuff. I just don't like do it in my stand-up right now.
Right.
It's like a weird thing to just like have.
Yeah.
you do voices, but like nobody hears you do voices. But, like I'm pretty confident in the voices. I just don't have jokes that go along with them.
Right. And you don't want to just
like,
hack it up there.
Right.
Yeah. That's I understand that. I like voices are fun to do, you know. Like I'll be walking like I'll get stoned and just walk around my house fucking doing characters, different voices. Yeah. It's like it's for me and my cat, you know. I don't need to put that on stage. But yeah, that sounds like it would be something pretty fun, and you definitely do have a voice for it. So
yeah, and I mean, I've always pretty much, not always, but like since I found out about it, like writing for TV shows and stuff sounds really cool. Like punch up jobs, like adding jokes to scripts that need jokes or something.
Or like best man speeches.
I guess
go on Craigslist. Hey, I'll punch up your. Give me some of your most embarrassing family stories. I'll punch them up for you.
Right. I know there are apps that you can like just apply for small stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just scroll through them. I haven't really followed through with any of those.
Yeah. I was what was that fucking thing called? Comedy Wire. I was on there for a little bit, and that was kind of like a it's like social network for comedians, like comedy.
Okay.
And they would like give prompts for people to like write jokes off of, like writing prompts, or sometimes it was like they would hire people or like pay them based on how many other comedians like would basically upvote your joke.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a really weird.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah. I think I'm still technically a part of it, but I don't pay attention to much anymore.
All right. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's something to check out though. Comedy Wire. I don't know if it's actually still a thing or not, but it was a weird little like social network for comedy.
Yeah. If anything, I'm like on like Facebook comedy stand-up groups on Facebook, but then it's like it's rarely anything interesting from other comedians. It's like somebody's posting memes because they're not a comedian and they're like, oh, this is a comedy page, I'm gonna post something funny I saw. It doesn't really have anything to do with stand-up.
Yeah. And that's the problem with just like comedy on the internet in general, you know. Like I forget which I think maybe it was Charles Blizniak has a joke about it's not really a joke. It's just him pontificating. But he basically says like there's like comedy's gonna die. Stand-up comedy is gonna die because there's nothing that we can say that's funnier than some meme that a 13-year-old Russian kid made. You know, like
right.
Memes are the most effective, efficient form of comedy, and they're gonna kill stand-up.
Right. It's ridiculous when you hear like a newer comic have a joke that's about a meme.
Right.
Like it's like there's two. You probably think the meme is funny if you saw it, but seeing someone do a joke about the meme on stage just ruins it completely.
Yeah.
Like,
it's going to be interesting.
Disconnect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see where like comedy goes in the future, you know, as like another generation, as like Gen Z comes along and starts, you know, doing open mics and shit. Like, I don't know. What's that comedy war gonna start over, you know? Because
right, I mean, I've heard some people talk about this where they think it's gonna be like a resurgence, like it's gonna be like it's gonna get to the point where they're like fuck it, and then just anything goes.
Right.
Like we're sick of being held down by all these rules we put on ourselves.
Yeah,
but I mean, I don't know, I can't say.
You know, I have a real concern about the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel inspiring more women to do comedy. I think it's going to be a real problem. I mean, we saw it happen with the Joker, with you know, all the incels going out there and shooting people. I think
I haven't heard much about it. Was there like articles about?
No.
Okay,
I'm just fucking around.
Yeah.
I was like, there's a.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's like. You gotta like latch onto everything.
Oh yeah.
Like,
get those likes and those shares and clicks and shit. Yeah, it's bullshit. Like it's comedy's dying and journalism is dying. Like they're the two. I think they're the two most important. Like I mean, journalism's not like an art form, but you know what I mean. Like the two most important forms of media, I'll say, are like stand-up comedy and journalism, and they're both fucking dying because the internet kills things that are helpful and informative and joyous for people. I don't know. I'm just ranting about how I hate the internet because I'm an old man, Kyle.
Well, I don't know. Whenever I hear somebody mention Generation Z, I always think of is there a name for the generation after Generation Z yet? Because I always think it's going to be like Generation AA or
right.
Like he's going to get in the double letters. But I don't know.
And just asterisk. Yeah. Generation star. Pound hashtag the hashtag generation. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see because you know, hopefully I live long enough to see the next generation of comedians like come in and see where they take it, because millennials they're so divided on like, I don't know. There's such a culture of like, I'm right, you're wrong in this world, you know, instead of like, all right, you're doing your thing, I'm doing mine.
Right. Michelle Wolf had her new special come out last week.
Yeah, I haven't gotten
her
to check it
special
out.
called Joke Show, where she has this like great premise where she says you don't have to have an opinion on everything, which is what people think they need.
Yeah, it's true. I used to talk about that a little bit on stage too, like how social media and the internet makes everybody think that their opinion matters. Like you're allowed to have an opinion. That's fine, but why do you think it matters? You know, like why do you think anyone cares what you think?
Right.
And why do people latch on to like certain personalities and like project everything that they think is fact when it's still just opinion for the most part, you know? Specifically when it comes to like politics and like critiquing art and shit like that, like it's all personal preference. I mean, you can use facts to form your opinion, but still, it's just you're still just having an opinion, and it doesn't matter any more than anybody else.
Somebody else could have an opinion based on other facts.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
or the same facts and see
the facts a different way.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the next generation. Well, there is an interesting thing about your life. Kyle grew up Mennonite, right?
Yeah,
that's actually true. That's not like my Amish joke. That is
true. No, you have that Amish joke. Yeah, you're never Amish.
Yeah, never been Amish, but I can play it off. I look Amish. But yeah, you grew up Mennonite, which is not quite Amish, but still not a very fun religion.
No, it's not. I mean, people mistake Mennonites for Amish all the time. I mean, there's so many things you can't do, but there's so many things that are different from what the Amish are. Like it's anyway, the church that I was raised in, it's at one point, I remember when I was a kid, they split in half because half of the congregation didn't believe that men should be wearing shorts. And
just at all, like period.
Men should not wear shorts because their bottom half of their legs are exposed or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was so weird because then that half of the congregation went off and started another sect of Mennonite church. It's weird because I felt superior because I was in the church that allowed shorts.
Yeah, you were like, you lame. Your legs are probably sweaty as shit.
Yeah. We had cars and stuff, and
right.
had TVs and electricity and whatever. But it's like looking at a guy who's Mennonite, like you can't really necessarily tell he's Mennonite. Like
yeah. I mean, I went to high school and elementary school with a few kids who were from Mennonite families. And
right. I mean, depending on the sect, of course, because some will wear specifically like long sleeve button downs or polo golf shirts.
Right.
Which is weird. There's like no restrictions on men in the Mennonites per se, but like all the restrictions are on women.
Yeah. Which is the way it should be, obviously.
Right, exactly. It's completely sexist, but there's a lot of subtlety. Like they'll say they're about love or whatever, but then there's this underlying thing where there's so much hatred because they think something's a sin, they can't see it any other way.
Yeah, that's I feel like that's a pretty common thread with a lot of religions, just in general. Because the base message of pretty much every religion on earth is just like love one another and be kind. But there's always an exception. It's always like, unless you're gay, then you're going to hell, and we're gonna hate you for your entire life. Or unless you, I don't know, how is it when you, because you obviously left the church.
Yeah.
Was that like a big deal in your family, or did your family also leave?
I'd thought about it for a really long time. Like I had been listening to so many podcasts where like it was sort of like opening my mind to like people think different ways than how I've always thought people think.
Yeah.
Like not everything's black and white, everything's gray, nuanced. But yeah, what was the question again?
Was that like a big deal when you left? Not necessarily. Like obviously for you.
No, the thing is, I like, because I had listened to so many different opinions on like different religious podcasts. I like sort of eased my way out of it.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna try out this other church. So I like went to like a mega church for like a few months, and then. I remember sitting in church like every Sunday, just like fucking hating every minute of it. And eventually the mega church that I went to had an app on smartphones. So instead of going to church, I would like play the sermon on my smartphone.
Wow. They're doing
just
that now?
because I knew my parents were going to ask me what the sermon was about.
Yeah. But they do that now? Like the mega churches have?
Yeah, they do that.
Wow. Because I know there's a few in the area, like the LCBC, right?
LCBC. I'm pretty sure they would. It was another church besides. It wasn't LCBC.
Okay.
But.
I just know I see them. They're like locations around, and they're like gyms. They look like schools, you know? Like,
yeah. There's actually
giant.
some of the mega churches actually won't even have like a lead pastor. They'll have a LED screen in the front of the church that has on the screen a pastor from a
somewhere
sister
else.
church.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. That's man, that's ridiculous. I mean, have you seen The Righteous Gemstones? Have you watched it? The HBO show?
No, I heard about that.
It was all right. But it's just an interesting parallel because they play like preachers, a family of preachers, and they have a mega church and everything like that. And I thought they were just kind of making stuff up, but it kind of seems like a lot of the shit that was happening in that show happens in real life too.
Yeah, I'm sure it would. It was Danny Trejo? Is that his?
No, Danny McBride.
Danny McBride.
Yeah, Danny Trejo is Machete.
The other guy.
And
Danny
John Goodman.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And Adam Devine.
Yeah. Actually, Danny McBride, he actually played a mega church pastor in a lesser known like comedy that came out by the guy who made Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh yeah.
It's called Don Verdeen. It was like this mega church fighting this guy who like believed in evolution or whatever.
Interesting.
So yeah, he's played a mega church pastor before. So I don't know if that's where they.
Yeah, well, because there is.
Oh, he would be a great.
There is kind of a. I don't remember that storyline coming up, like that plot point necessarily, but there is like similar stuff that happens in the show. So that's interesting. I didn't know. I've never heard of that movie, and I didn't know that he had done that before. I basically thought he was just doing Kenny Powers as a fake preacher,
right?
Like a really like false priest, you know?
Yeah.
Which you see a lot of that too, especially in some of those mega churches. It's like, you know, look at Joel Osteen. He preaches Christianity, which is like care for the poor, and he lives in a fucking $1 billion house, and his church is
right, and didn't let people in his church when there was a disaster.
Yeah. So did you see that kind of stuff when you were like in the Mennonite community, or like even when you branched out into like other churches? Or were you just kind of, did you just hear more of like the world around you, and you were like, oh, I don't.
It's more that no one ever changed their opinion on anything, and their opinion is their parents' opinion and their grandparents' opinion.
Okay, yeah.
No one ever thought outside of what they've always heard of.
Yeah. And you see that again. Very common thread in just like this area in general, not even when it comes to religion, but when it comes to like anything. It's
right.
Yeah. Just, well, this is just the way we always did it. Well, maybe there's a better way. Nah. We don't want to hear it. No, this is how we've always done it. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember like questioning weird things in the church. I mean, like I didn't question the shorts thing because I was like 8. I'm like, sure, that happens.
Yeah,
this happens to everybody.
That's logical. That's this makes sense. I get it. Some people think they shouldn't wear shorts.
Yeah. But I remember questioning like other things, like the certain group of Mennonites that I was in. They would call themselves Christians.
Yeah.
First of all, we're Christians, but we're also Mennonites. But the name of the church like had Mennonite in the name. I'm like, why? I was like asking my dad. I'm like, why don't they change the word Mennonite to Christian if Christian's more important?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we gotta draw in ex-Amish people and other Mennonites so they know we're a part of the.
It's weird that like Mennonite is like rehab for Amish, basically. It's like,
it's crazy.
It's like, well, this is a little too much. I think I'm gonna split the diff and just go. I don't want to wear shorts. So I think this is where I fit in. But I also like TV.
Right. As a Christian comedian I've seen in this area before, he said Mennonites are like, I'm Amish, but I like my Xbox.
Yeah.
So it's
that's pretty good, actually. I wouldn't think that I would like a joke from a Christian comedian, but
there's this guy Tim Hawkins. He was probably my first favorite comedian.
Okay.
It was yeah, I mean, first when I heard stand-up comedy, it was Christian. Obviously, it was this guy named Ken Davis. He made me hate comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's so terrible. It's just family-friendly dad jokes. I'm like, is that all comedy is?
Right.
I'm not even going to think about it. Then we had this, like, Christian cable TV, like it was strictly Christian channels.
Okay.
Like one
I didn't even know that was like an option.
It's like a weird satellite cable option. I don't know.
Yeah. Just for this area too, I bet. They're like, I bet we'll be able to sell this package in central Pennsylvania.
Right, central Pennsylvania, middle country, and Florida. That's
it.
Yeah. But yeah, somehow there was this channel on the TV called, it was like PAX, PAX. It was like
I remember PAX.
It was like a local, like Cleveland, Ohio station, or Columbus, Ohio station, or whatever.
Yeah.
Channel, and they had this show on there called Bananas, which is like there was this comedy club in Columbus called Bananas Comedy Club, and it was like a clean comedy club, and they mostly, for the most part, had Christian comics there, but they would like put out these DVDs. I would like collect the DVDs. Some of them were good, but I mean that like got me into stand up pretty much.
That's the exact opposite of my like intro to stand up. Like it was like Chappelle and Louis and stuff like that.
I mean, there's very few that I still go back to now because of what I discovered beyond them.
Right. But that's, there's some merit to that. Like, I always kind of respect people who can work clean because I mean, you've heard me. I just can't. I don't know. The word fuck is like a tick for me. It's a filler word. Instead of going, which I still do that too, but when I run out of filler words, fuck is is the one that comes up. So I've always had a level of respect for guys who can work clean, and if you can make like Christianity funny, if you can make Bible jokes that aren't like offensive to Christians, like that's a skill. That's
right.
That's tough to do, but if it's only funny to people who like,
right, it's sort of when it started to turn for me with Christian comedians, is they'll like make a joke about referencing someone's a bad person, they're gonna die and go to hell or whatever.
Yeah,
and that's the punchline, and they're all laughing. I'm like, if you believe that,
that's sad.
What are you?
Aren't you supposed to save that person?
About this?
Yeah,
but also I saw this Tim Hawkins. He was at one point, I think he's my first favorite comedian. He's a Christian comic, and I saw him perform, and then he's like, we're Christians, so we should have the better entertainment or whatever. It's this weird, twisted thing that most Christian entertainers believe. Whereas since we have the answer, we should be making better things than people who aren't us.
Huh.
It was this weird twisted thing where I'm like, why are you excluding so many people?
Yeah. Is it? I mean, sounds like a criticism. of himself. If I'm being honest, he's like, why is everything I make so shitty?
It's like a weird meta thing.
Yeah. No, I so is he saying that he's holding Christian comics to like a higher standard, or is he saying that we are better than everybody else because we know the truth in the way, and
just saying it's got to be better.
Okay.
So they see the light
through
our performances.
It's like shitty Christian punk bands. Yeah.
yeah. Actually, I liked MXPX though. So.
Yeah, well, they're not Christian anymore.
Right. Well, yeah.
They made that song "Party My House, Be There," and just left the church in the dust.
That's right.
I was into MXPX for a little while. Back in the day. That's like the Ataris too. Back in the day there. What was the other Christian? Reliant K.
Reliant K.
Reliant K was a big one.
They're like basically the band you would pair with them in that time period was Switchfoot.
Oh, I forgot about Switchfoot.
Yeah,
and it's not terrible music,
No, some of it's great.
Yeah.
But,
well, and then there's that band that I always thought was Christian, but apparently isn't. Our Lady Peace. Like I thought they were a Christian band, but their name just sounds like it, and they're not actually.
Right. I remember so many times, like I would have Christian friends would be like, "Oh, I heard about this band called Lamb of God." It's like, and they would check them out. They're like, "Oh my God,
that's the devil's music."
Of course, they wouldn't say, "Oh my God," to be like, "Oh my word," or something. Like
what are some of your favorite like non-swear words that you've heard throughout the years? You know how like if people were dubbing themselves for cable, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the substitute for bad words. Do you have? Can you remember any good ones?
Well, let's see. There's so many we couldn't say.
Yeah.
So for the most part, it'd just be like, you can't. You couldn't say gosh because it sounded too much like God. You couldn't say dang or darn because it sounded too much like damn.
Yeah. You couldn't say darn?
No.
What about like darning socks? Which I don't even know what that means.
There's this weird context thing because like then somebody would reference a Bible verse where they call a donkey an ass, and everybody would giggle because you're getting away with saying a swear.
Right. Such a simple life, man.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, what were some of the podcasts that you listened to that kind of opened your eyes a little bit? Because you said, like, the podcast came first, and then you kind of ventured out into comedy, right?
Right.
And they were mostly, like, religious podcasts, you said.
There were some of both. I had been getting into mainstream, like, better comics, comedy, like before I decided to leave religion.
Okay.
So I was listening to a lot of comedy podcasts too. Like a big one was Pete Holmes' "You Made It Weird."
All right.
Because he had also left his church or whatever. I connected more with like the earlier episodes because he was still trying to find himself.
Yeah.
And now he's like all out there.
Yeah,
spiritually.
he's found himself now.
Yeah, he's found himself.
So
it was whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
But then there's like the thinking atheist. It was just cognitive dissonance was another one. It's just like all these. You could tell it was atheist by the words they used.
Yeah.
As the title. I listened to a lot of those.
Was that as research for what was wrong? Like, did you go into it looking for like a new perspective or whatever, or was it like, ooh, this is a bad thing that I'm going to listen to?
Maybe it was like maybe some things that I think are true are not true.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not all of it, but maybe some things I'm wrong about.
Yeah. I remember very, very clearly the day, like I was raised Catholic. And I went to Catholic school.
Okay.
I was like an altar boy and everything like that. And I was, went to the confirmation classes. I'm confirmed Catholic. I'm a good boy. And I'm one of the right ones.
Right.
So I remember, though, I was in 3rd grade when I was kind of like, I asked a question that my teacher couldn't give me an answer to. And that was kind of like, well, what the fuck? What are you teaching me then? Like, and all it was, what was Jesus's last name? Because like, I was like, is it Christ? And she's like, well, no. It's like, well, then what was his last name? And because like Christ, I guess, is just like it
would be the Christ.
Right. It's like a
Messiah. It's just another word for Messiah.
Yeah, it's a term of like honor, basically.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And she didn't have an answer for me. Well, what she did say was like, people probably didn't really have last names then, so he was probably just Jesus of Nazareth,
So how do we still know about this guy?
Right, yeah. And then my thought, which she rejected and which made me upset, was that, Joseph was a carpenter, so his last name was probably Carpenter.
Right, most likely.
Yeah.
The logic, yeah.
She was just like, no. I couldn't tell me why that was wrong. She couldn't tell me why what I was reading in the Bible was correct and why what I was thinking was wrong.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, okay, well then you don't know. And I got along with that teacher very well. I still remember her. She was a former nun, actually, which is kind of a funny coincidence that like
ex-nun as a teacher in a Catholic school.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she left the convent, but still stayed on to teach at the school.
Okay.
And she went to the same church as me because I didn't go to the church that was attached to the school. I went to a different Catholic church in Lebanon. So yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that's it. So I guess I'm trying to relate to you. I understand that feeling of like, of just kind of having questions that people can't answer, and you're like, well, I want the answer. I want to know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find it if you're not gonna tell me. Yeah. So, yeah, I understand because I'm not a Catholic anymore. Like I'm technically, technically you're always a Catholic once you're confirmed.
Once always. Yeah.
Yeah, but I renounced my faith.
Went to that church. You're like, no.
Yeah.
Just walk out.
Yeah. No, and when I was an altar server, I was super like into it. I was solemn as shit. I had good cross form, good candle form. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you didn't spill any wax on your hands.
We used
you got the
oil candles.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we had oil candles at my church. Yeah.
Yeah, we still used the wax ones with the paper on top to protect your hand or whatever.
Okay. So is that something, because I know like a lot of the different sects of Christianity, like what makes them different from like basically Protestant religions, what makes them different from Catholicism is that they don't believe in transubstantiation.
Right.
Is there still communion?
The bread fully becoming the body.
Yeah. Is there still like communion in?
Oh yeah, there's it's their own kind of communion where it's they pass around bread and grape juice, of course. Never have anything to do with alcohol.
Right.
But then there would also be like you would wash each other's feet. You'd physically wash each other's feet.
That sounds nice, though. I mean,
yeah.
I think we should start that at open mics.
Right.
Just wash each other's feet when someone new comes in. Everybody can take a seat and go like clockwise around the circle. Everybody washes the person next to them.
Yeah, but all our jokes wouldn't be good anymore.
Yeah.
We'd all be
relaxed.
Hippies.
Yeah. We'd all be relaxed and friendly, and we'd have clean feet.
Yeah.
So you actually, like, they actually wash each other's feet, though?
Yeah, it's like soapy water and a towel.
Yeah. Huh.
Just like dunk them in and dry them off.
It's weird. And it's not like I guess
it's not specific to the Mennonites because that's how it is in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what other sects still do the feet thing.
Right.
I mean, I think like some Pentecostal people would do that. But.
Okay. Do they? Is it like special like treatment? Like, do only certain people get their feet washed, or is it like everybody?
No, everybody does. Yeah.
There's not a so who's.
But they split down the middle. Men are on one side, women on the other side.
Oh yeah, you can't touch each other. Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Not unless you're married and already have a child. Then you can finally
even
have
then,
sex.
not in front of other people.
Yeah. So one of my old coworkers lived with a group of Mennonites for a while, but they were like hippie Mennonites. Like, it was basically like a little hippie commune that he lived on, but it was run by Mennonites.
So there's like another one called Hutterites. Was it something like that?
He said they were Mennonite.
Okay.
And like the grandparents,
the hippie Mennonites are like, it's like a kind of them called Hutterites, where
maybe
like
that's what they
on
were.
A commune.
Yeah.
But they're not. I mean, they're still crazy close-minded, but it's
right.
Like they live specifically together. I don't know if what you're talking about was that or not, but
it sounds like it could be because they would like party, but they were still Mennonite. This is how he described it, but he said that the grandparents were still living on the commune with them too, and the joke that the grandmother used to make was like, remember, no kissing until after the first date. Oh no, it was no holding hands until after the first date, no kissing until after your marriage, and no sex until you've already had a child.
Right. Yeah.
Which is kind of how they project themselves, right? At like Mennonites, it's like, oh no, we don't do anything sexual or anything like that for pleasure. There's no pleasure involved.
Right,
it's
strictly for reproduction.
Right. Again, which is how it should be.
Exactly.
There's no such thing as the female orgasm. This is going to be
Don't even say that word.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's true. What am I thinking? I don't know. Like, even Catholicism was like way too, like closed-minded for me. And I mean, it's still pretty closed-minded, Catholicism, but like, or too timid. I don't know. I don't know the word I'm looking for. Too conservative. Like, I couldn't live like that, man. But I guess if you don't know better, if you don't know any better, then you don't know any better.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So you got out. You got out of the cult, man. You made it.
Yeah.
Is there like bad blood between you and your family because of it, or that's what I was trying to get at earlier? Actually, like, did your family?
Right, that led into a bunch of other things.
Yeah, but that's how it works with me.
Yeah.
I should just call this tangents with Andrew Hamilton because that's what happens. I just go off on tangents. But like, did your family leave the church with you, or are they still part of
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
they're still part of the exact same church. No, how it happened is I had left like all church completely, including the mega church, by like April or May of 2016.
Okay.
And then I had started stand-up in October of that same year. And I think it was like, it may have been January, where I told my parents I wanted to talk to them.
Yeah.
And I told my parents I wanted to talk to them about it. And about like why I'm not going to church. Actually, they didn't even know I wasn't going to church. They thought I was still going to a mega church.
Okay, because you were watching on the app and you could
right.
You could play it off.
But I decided to tell them I am an atheist and I'm a stand-up comic. Like I did it both at the same time. I thought the comedy thing would alleviate a little bit
of the
atheism.
Oh boy, were you wrong?
Yeah. My mom like burst into tears and yelled, "You are going to hell!" It was like this crazy thing.
Did that last? Like, I mean, are you still kind of estranged from them, or did they cut you out?
Still go over for meals, still go over for holidays or whatever.
Yeah, because they're still your family.
Yeah, don't talk about that thing.
Wow,
it's just
what a novel approach
completely avoid all of it. It's I mean, there's like some atheists who would, once they leave their religious family, if they sit down for a meal, they'll be like, when you pray before your meal, I'm going to walk into another room. I don't want to. So I still sit there. I mean, I'm not I mean, obviously I don't participate. Right. I just like sit there.
You respect your family at least. Yeah. I've always found at the same, I hate people who try to push religion on other people, but at the same time, I hate
if an atheist is leaving the room when you pray. That's pushing religion off of people.
Exactly. So yeah. It's the same side of, or it's the other side of the same coin. Yeah. Yeah, and that it drives me just as nuts. So that's cool that you are like a level-headed person, and it's like I said earlier, a novel approach to disagreeing with someone in 2020 is to just, it's going to be 2020 when this goes out.
Fuck you, I want nothing to do with you.
Yeah. I know you raised me and everything, but fuck you, mom and dad, which sometimes that's valid, but
yeah.
So, but that's pretty much the only time you talk to him is like holidays and maybe occasionally go over for dinner.
I'll go over a couple times a month or whatever.
Okay. It's more than I see my parents.
Yeah, I mean, they don't live too far away, but...
Yeah. So, you're full-on atheist?
No, that's the thing. I mean, at first, I was like... I don't think anyone is ever fully anything. That's how I see it. So, sometimes I consider myself atheish. Okay. I haven't heard anyone else use that term, so I'm coining it.
Yeah, dude, copyright it right now.
Atheish.
Get the patent.
It's like I've always thought about this. Well, the one episode of a podcast that it's always influenced me was like one with Brian Regan on Pete Holmes. He Made It Weird podcast.
Okay. Yeah. Just Pete keep Holmes plugging other podcasts.
Yeah, I'll just plug other podcasts. That's what I'm here to do.
I asked. You go ahead.
You can cut that out. I don't care.
No, I say I do a lot of posts, but I really, the only time I edit anything out is if I go off on too much of a tangent about like something fucked up. Like there's some pedophile jokes that I had to cut out because I was just like, I don't need that in my first like 3 episodes,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll cut that out.
Oh, okay.
But I'll keep you in. And I'm sorry, I interrupted. Keep going. I
was gonna say, Pete Holmes asked Brian Regan like what he thought was the like meaning of life or what he believed or whatever. He basically just said, how can anyone say they know something to be true when there are so many more books on the shelf?
Yeah.
Like no one has read everything, no one knows everything, so you can't say anything for sure. That's pretty much what's stuck with me.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I always try to keep in mind, how stupid I really am. So, when I'm like trying to form an opinion, or someone's trying to like have a political debate with me or something. It's just like, I have my opinion, but I'm also an idiot. There's also people who are a lot smarter than me in this world. And there's a lot of information that I don't know. So
yeah.
That's a really good perspective, I think. I haven't really listened to that podcast, and I probably should, because I like Pete Holmes too. Actually, his Faces and Sounds, that special. I don't know if I can remember a special within the past like 5 years that has made me laugh that hard. And it's just him being a big dumb goofball, and it's great. Right. It's great.
I watched so many specials. Like, I think the only joke I remember from that was like the phrase "edited it" is too many did it.
Yeah, that's good.
It's like marbles cascading down a wooden staircase.
My favorite is the when he's talking about the article in Cosmo or something. It's like how to keep your man satisfied. Fuck him every day. Fuck me every day. Fuck you every day. Yeah. Okay, right. I have work to do. Get out of my study. That's the kind of stuff. I wish I could write jokes like that. Like, do you see Pete Holmes as like a big influence on your stand up?
Not really at all.
No, okay.
I love stand up so much. I'm just like, there's someone from every kind of stand up that I'm a fan of.
Yeah. I get that. It is a tough question to ask. Like, people, like, who like really influenced you? Who's your Mount Rushmore of comedy? It's like, it changes, dude.
Oh, it changes all the time. Yeah. I mean, I consistently keep a number one, but
Tim Hawkins.
No, no, I don't even know what number he is now. There's so many great ones.
Yeah. Who's your consistent?
Consistent number one is Norm Macdonald.
Okay, he's a good one to have up there for sure.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize. I knew him from SNL mostly growing up.
Right.
I never really listened to his stand up, and then when he released Hitler's Dog, I was like, oh shit, this is like very unique, very unique and distinctly Norm Macdonald. Yeah. Actually, he's one of the reasons I had such a hard time coming up with a name for this podcast, because it was going to be Hambone Has a Podcast.
Oh, and then Norm Macdonald Has a Show.
Yes. And then I was going to do Making Friends with Hambone, and fucking Conan O'Brien already has Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. So I was like, what am I going to call this? What am I doing on it? Human interaction. All right.
There you go.
Yeah. So how are you enjoying being on an actual like professional podcast now, instead of just a room full of 8 dudes screaming over each other?
Oh, it's definitely better than that. I'll say that.
You hear that, Joey? You piece of shit. Fucking, there's a reason I didn't turn the mics on. I guarantee he doesn't listen to this. Actually, I think maybe the only
unless you release the podcast with him.
Yeah, he's going to listen.
And then he'll listen.
Yeah, that's what people do.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think the only people who do listen to this are people that I've had on the show. So we'll see. Everyone's just waiting. They don't know that I recorded like 5 episodes in advance. So
yeah.
Their episode won't air for another 5 weeks.
Yeah.
I hooked you, motherfuckers. You have anything specific that you had in mind to talk about? I know.
Not necessarily. No.
Yeah. I
don't know. I really like jokes. I just like talking about jokes.
You just like talking about jokes? You have any that you haven't tried out on stage yet that you want to try out now?
Try out now. Premises. I don't know.
Yeah, throw some premises at me.
I don't know. There's this one I want to try to make work that, like, I think we gotta stop Star Wars. Star Wars should just end.
I'm not on board.
Because
not on board.
Because it's holding society back, because they're still attached to their childhood, and society can't fulfill itself if Star Wars is still happening. I don't know. It's just a premise I had written down like a week ago.
This is the last one of the saga anyway. According to I heard
sagas, there's always going to be spin-offs.
Well, and that's what who was Michael Eisner was talking about. He's like, this isn't the end of Star Wars movies. It's just the end of this storyline.
Right.
Maybe it is time. I do kind of agree with you. I want to see this last one, but
no, I don't care. You can have an opinion that's different than mine.
I mean, I love Star Wars. No, dude, that's what we were just talking about. We can't do that. We got to fight now. all out war.
Yeah.
No, like I grew up on Star Wars, and there's definitely a nostalgia value to it. But when I look back on the prequels, I don't know how much you've seen, because I know in a lot of religions, a lot of conservative Christian.
I've seen so many references in pop culture that I feel like I know all of it.
You might know the general
I've
story.
seen like half of a couple.
Okay.
But just I'm sick of the references. It's all it's pretty much the problem.
So wait, are you telling me you're not down with Baby Yoda?
The meme's funny, sure.
Baby Yoda is the cutest fucking thing in the world. And that's what we're going to fight over now. No, was it one of those things where you didn't see it until like you left the church? Because I know like certain religions, certain Christians are like, Star Wars, that's evil. We can't fly into space. Like
yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't allowed to watch Harry Potter either.
Well, that makes sense because witchcraft.
Yeah. I mean, Star Wars, I remember other people in the church always trying to justify it. It's a battle of good and evil, like the Bible. It's like
I feel like that's got to be a really common issue when you try to mix, when you give people the freedom to indulge in pop culture but not shorts. Like that's got to be a pretty big conundrum that you run into, because you do have to try to justify certain things like that. Like, all right, well, I know you can't wear shorts, but here's this futuristic story that takes place in outer space with lasers and a magical force that, Yeah,
there's also the irony of trying to justify something by saying it's like a spiritual battle between good and evil when you're non-resistant, like you don't believe in battling at all,
right?
Unless it's not for real.
Yeah.
Like
or unless
spirits.
we disagree with you.
Yeah.
Although I guess like pacifism, you can still
pacifism. Yeah, was the other word. It's non-resistance, pacifism. There's another word. I don't know. I forget.
Misogyny.
Yes, that was the word.
That was basically the main tenet of the religion, is what I'm hearing anyway.
Yeah, we had to sign forms that if the military was recruiting people, they'd be like, "Oh, this guy doesn't believe in going to war."
Yeah.
So he's got to sign this. It was because of the church. It was not because of anyone's personal beliefs.
Right. Hey, I mean, you didn't have to.
I guess my name's on file somewhere.
Nice. So you don't. You're not getting drafted.
I guess I'm good. Signed it when I was 10 years old. It's like,
nice. You don't have to fake bone spurs. You just fake a religion. You just fake religious beliefs.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of times it feels like Christianity forgets about the Crusades, and although that was Catholicism too, I guess. But
they call themselves Christians.
Well, who's that? The Crusaders?
The Crusaders.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was definitely like a Christian faith.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Catholicism...
But they're closer to Catholicism than anything else. Yeah.
Because that was like the 600s, I think, something like that, the Crusaders. I'm not a history buff. I'm sure, I could look it up on Wikipedia and read for 3 hours tonight and be fascinated, and then I'll try to write a cool new joke about the Crusades. And it won't work. That's where I'm at right now. I was talking to Wes about it when he was home, and it's like I've reached the point where I've pretty much forgotten how to write a joke. It's just like nothing that comes out feels funny, and then I'll go to the lounge and I feel like people are just laughing because they know me and we're friends and everything, and then like I go somewhere else and they're just like, dude, that sucks, which is the opposite of how it used to be.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good audience, the open mic last night.
It was really good, and hopefully we're hitting one of those strides, because
it's what it feels like.
Yeah, when maybe like 6 months after I started, we had a good run, And I think it has to do with winter. With it being winter, more people are likely to come hang out in a basement.
Hopefully. I like to think so. Then, like, you hear people say, like, in the summer, they're like, well, it's the summer. They don't want to be outside in the heat. They want to be inside in the air conditioning. That's why there's more people now, or whatever.
No,
like,
see, I've always
heard
thought,
people say both things.
Yeah.
So.
It always felt to me like people come more frequently in the winter because it's cold out and because, you know, they're not going and sitting on a deck somewhere or just, you know, they don't necessarily want to go sit outside in the winter, but in the summer, yeah, it's nice to sit outside and have a drink or something like that. So I always thought winter was more conducive to comedy. Plus, you know, seasonal affective disorder. Get a lot of sad people to come in and laugh at other sad people.
Try it their first time.
Yeah. Show up with a logo on a T-shirt already.
Right. Seen that quite a few times.
Right. Oh man, how about the kid that's around now? That Asian dude, the super energetic about school shootings.
Yeah, it's Willie Kid.
Yeah, Cum Drop. Willie Cum Drop.
Cum Drop.
No, that's not my name. Oh. Yeah. I doubt he listens to this, so we'll drop his name. Because it's always interesting to like try to figure out what people think when they get up there, you know, like why do you think this is funny? Why do you think this is gonna make people laugh, you know? Because I've been in that situation before where I wasn't like super high energy guy, but I was like the weird creepy dude, which some might say I still am. But it's like at a certain point you have to think to yourself like why is this funny? Why is this funny to me? Why do I think other people are gonna laugh at this?
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. I think a lot of people are just not self-aware at all. They have no sense of self-awareness, and they think that the stage is just like, if you're on stage doing anything, that means it's funny. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like that's what people think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Here's me pontificating about comedy again, because I'm an expert, everybody. I don't know if you knew that. I'm a fucking expert on comedy.
Yeah. The autism spectrum, which is I guess it's not technically a spectrum anymore, but it's...
Oh, really?
I don't know what
so my
technical term is
again,
now,
my new joke doesn't work.
I don't know what the technical term is now, but everybody still refers to it as a spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there's so many comedians that you could easily identify as being on the spectrum in some way, shape, or form. But
here's a premise for you, since I made you do it. I was thinking about it the other day. Like, instead of...
I didn't ask for it.
Don't care, motherfucker. This is my podcast. Instead of, like, having all of these different terms for different, like, spectrum positions, we should just go by the colors. Like, okay, that's a red person. Watch out for him. You know, like...
Yeah.
The fucking orange people are the ones like that are screaming in the corner, rocking back and forth. You know, just let them do their thing. Oh no, this guy's yellow. He's cool. He can function with us. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. People don't like when you make fun of autistic people, though.
No, they don't. But I got 2 new autism jokes. So
nice. I have to say, one of my
gotta
favorite...
have a third one. You gotta pair them together. Make a chunk on autism.
Yep. Comedy comes in threes,
for the most part.
Yeah, I one of my favorite bits that you have started doing recently, just because of how absurd it is I've never shit my pants.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. That gets me every time I've heard you. I think I've only heard you do it twice, but both times it's just like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Right.
Yeah. But it works because it's just so random.
Yeah. It's like I'm trying to figure out like the balance between how you can go so absurd and then tell a joke about your life.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
How can they still be on board with believing something that happened to you if your mind's over here in this absurd pocket of life?
I feel like that's it's easier to do when you have more time. Like I'm at the point where an open mic 5 minutes, it's just not enough time for me anymore. You know, I want to keep I want to build out into longer sets. And part of that is probably because when I first started doing comedy, this girl Melissa would book me, and she wouldn't give me a light or time. It was just yeah, do whatever you want. So I do 25, 30 minutes, 3 months into comedy.
Just do it.
Yeah. I mean, granted, it was for 3 people, but yeah, I think I got spoiled there, being able to be really bad for 30 minutes and at least realizing that I could do 30 minutes. And then when I started writing actually decent jokes and building those out, it's oh, I know what it's like now to do a half hour, and I want to do a good half hour, and I'm not going to get there just doing open mics. And that's kind of where the frustration has come from too, and why I've taken a step back, because it's I'm stuck at the open mic level, and,
right.
And I don't know how to get past that, because even asking for shows doesn't work. You know, it's I asked to be on a show. We're booked for the next 3 months, but I'll keep you in mind. And I reach out 2 months later, hey, keep me in mind for in a month or whatever. Oh shit, we're booked out to February. All right, fuck you. You know, you could have just said no, I don't want you on my show. Just tell me that. Don't fucking leave me on.
Yeah. There's the thing of you can't get a 15-minute spot unless you have 15 minutes or whatever. And then it's I wanted to do 15 minutes, but I can't find a 15-minute spot anywhere.
Yeah. What's the deal? What's the deal with open mics and bookers? That's a terrible Seinfeld. I apologize.
But I mean,
listeners.
obviously, you just go 3 different open mics, do 3 5-minute sets.
yeah, if you can. But see, the problem is in this area. I mean, you can do that in Philly, which I did for a while. I was doing 3 mics a night in Philly, for the most part, when I was really grinding. But it's tough in this area to do that, because there's only you have Thursdays you can do Harrisburg and Reading.
You can. If you go up early in Harrisburg, you can drive to Reading.
Yeah.
Which is an hour 20 drive.
Yeah, or you could go to Harrisburg and then go to Lewisburg, which is then a 2-hour drive home late at night.
Right.
I do love Civil War. I love that room, but it's too.
Yeah, that's one room I haven't gotten to yet.
We should go up sometime, because it is a fun room. There, at least as far as I know, it's still this way. They're a super supportive crowd. They're they always want to laugh. And you'd think it would be a super PC room, because they have a sign on the door that's no racism, no sexism, no misogyny, no hate, period, blah blah blah. But then guys like Pat and Zach Hammond and Bill Russum go in there and do their their shit, and people love it. So it's basically, as long as you're only doing those things to yourself, they're okay with it.
Yeah, but or none of these things unless they're funny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. If it's funny, it's cool. If we get that it's a joke, it's cool. Which I think is also another problem with modern comedy, is that people don't understand that jokes are not meant to be taken seriously.
Right.
You know, even if you don't think it's funny, it's still a joke, and you gotta fucking pick your battles, you know?
Yeah.
That's something that's really stuck with me about society in general. You know, like I said earlier, there's that I'm right, you're wrong, everything's black and white mentality, and it bleeds into comedy in the sense that people, it's oh, if I didn't think it was funny, you weren't trying to make a joke, you were being serious. If I didn't like that joke, then it wasn't a joke, you know?
Right.
And no, you just didn't like it, and that's fine. We don't have to fight over this.
All you have to do is just not laugh.
Exactly, and you can leave too. You can get up and walk out of a room.
I like to say that sometimes when I host open mics.
Yeah.
It's like you can laugh, you can leave, or you can laugh against your will.
Yeah.
Which, I wish people would do more of.
Yeah.
But I mean, fine. It's up to the person. They can laugh or they can not laugh. But yeah, as far as criticizing someone for a joke,
you can say, I didn't think that was funny. And that's fine.
Well, you don't even have to say that.
Well, if people need to fucking make their opinion heard. Again, remember, everybody's opinion matters. So you can say, you can say what you want. You can have your opinion. You can think something wasn't funny, but then that's where it can end, And part of it is also like the other side of like, trolling and shit like that, where people are like, oh, I didn't think that was funny. And then the other side fires back with like, well, you're just a fucking pussy or whatever, you're a PC snowflake, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, all right, you need to learn to take criticism, and you need to learn that not everything is like a personal attack just because you didn't think it was funny. Like people need to,
right.
We need to get back to a point where we can actually coexist with each other instead of just fighting all the fucking time. And again, social media, I think that's part of the problem with that shit. Yeah. Pontificating. Fucking Hambone 2024. You hear it? Make the signs, baby. I'm running. I'm going. I'll finally be eligible to run for president. I'm going to do it. 2024. You heard it here first. Hambone Neff. 2024.
That's it. Got to build up that crazy following between now and 2024.
Yeah. Dude, what if it happens, though? Like, what if this is the moment?
It's always that. Always that.
There's always a chance, man. We live in a universe where anything is possible.
A few, like, keywords, or, like list every famous comedian you know as a keyword for the searching for the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I actually, there was a period of time where I used to do that, like just go on Twitter and just at like celebrities and famous comics and shit like that. And now I think back on it, and it's embarrassing.
Yeah, I was in a Facebook message group where somebody added every comic that was in their friends list, and they added Nate Bargatze.
Nice.
I think he left like 5 minutes later or something.
Yeah, I think I got kicked out of that group. I think I might have been in it.
You can just add people.
Yeah.
Famous people you can just add.
Yeah. Oh, man. To be famous. I don't know, like, would you even want to be a famous comedian at this point? I don't, like...
stadiums don't entice me.
Yeah.
Theaters don't really either.
Really? You'd rather be like a club guy?
I don't know, some dingy place. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's where comedy's best.
I agree. Basements.
Yeah.
Comedy is best in basements with no windows. That's comedy and strip clubs. They fit into the same categories. Yeah, I don't know. And maybe that goes back to like what we were just talking about, where it's like being a famous comedian must fucking suck now, because you can't do anything without people writing a fucking article in Reductress or Medium or
right. Even comedians will say in their sets like, this is a joke, like they'll say it like, I'm joking, I'm kidding, and then an article will be written about how serious that statement was.
All right. Well, and that's
you can do as many prefaces as you want.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah, because they're gonna take everything out of context because they want to fucking stoke the flames and keep us divided. You hear that, everybody? The media is the enemy of the people. Hambone 2024. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap it up, man. Yeah, we had an hour 15. Not too bad.
Trump impression. There you go.
Yeah, dude. Well, now it's gonna be on us just talking.
Yeah,
but that's what people will.
A Trump impression. Talking about the Trump impression.
Yeah. It was the best Trump impression, which is actually the worst Trump impression. I don't do a good Trump at all.
Meta Trump.
You got anything? I mean, this will probably be in about February. You got anything you want to plug?
Well, I don't know if anybody hears this. I host an open mic on Wednesdays in Lancaster.
Yeah, La Costina.
La Castagna.
Castagna.
It's like one of those squiggly lines above the end.
It's called a tilde.
It's
tilde.
A tilde. Oh, right. Yeah, the name of that thing.
Yeah.
La Castagna at 315 West King Street in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
That's you and Steve host that?
I hosted. Steve O'Donnell also hosts it, yes.
Part of the Lank Out Loud Comedy Network.
Lank Out Loud is the name of the page. I don't know if it's a network as much as it's just a page that posts comedy things.
And from what I haven't gone yet, but I will make it out there eventually. He says it's such a far drive. But word on the street is that your first show, the cops showed up because the laughter was so loud. Someone made a noise complaint.
This is probably like the second open mic we've had there.
Okay.
Oh yeah, cops showed up for. I was like, is there something wrong? Because I was outside when they showed up. And they're like, we just got a noise complaint. It was like I was talking to the guy who like owns the place, runs the room. He's like, "This is the quietest night of the week. We have rap shows here every weekend. What's this?" This was just some asshole
who wanted to be a dick
neighbor.
about it.
Yeah.
Well, if that neighbor's listening, go fuck yourself. This has been Human Interaction. I hope you'll come back next time. This has been Human Interaction. I'm your host, Andrew Hamilton. I don't know why I said the title of the podcast twice, but that's my guest, Kyle Neff.
I'm here. Goodbye.
And I hope I'll see you'll tune in next time. I'll post-production. We're going to redo that one.
Okay.
Come back next time.